I had a question for you.
Okay.
Last week you said something about the sin of the parent fall upon the child.
Yes.
But I read in the Bible that the sin of the parent does not fall upon the child. Like we bear our own sins. Now, is there a difference between a sin and a curse?
A sin and a curse. A sin and a curse. Well, I don't know if there's a difference. I have to think about that, because if you are sinning, you are living a cursed life. Because all who sin are living in hell, and they lack love and even the ability to love.
Well,
So,
do you believe that someone can...
But the sins of the fathers are passed on from generation to generation for sure.
But the Bible doesn't say that.
It does say the sins of the fathers are passed on from generation to generation.
Where at? I read it over and over, and it
Where
doesn't...
did she find that, you know?
It doesn't
We'll
say
get it for you.
that. It says we bear our own sins.
It says both, actually. Yeah.
Well, what happens is you're born into a sinful family, and you become like them. And then once you become like them, that's when you start taking on your own as you get older.
So you don't believe that a family can be cursed? Like like where I'm from, they do a lot of witchcraft, voodoo, all that stuff. And like I think my great grandfather was really into that from my dad's side.
And so you think he may have cursed the whole family by being into witchcraft?
I think so.
I'm sure, yeah, a family can be cursed. But I don't know if there's a difference between the sin and being cursed, because the sin is a curse. When you really know what the sin is. Yes, Mark?
I think the word cursed implies there's nothing you can do about it. That's why typically I don't like that word.
Yeah.
Because just believe in God, and that's going to beat your curse. That's going to beat anything.
I'm going to have to look into it. That's a really good question. I don't know what there's a difference between sin and curse. I mean, to me, they seem both to have the same effect in that they separate you from God, and then life becomes very destructive for you. Unless a curse is something that you cannot overcome. That might be a difference, but I don't know. That's a good question. But the sins of the fathers are passed down from generation to generation until one generation overcome it and start a new generation. Why do you think most people are just like their parents? You know, they weren't born just like their parents. How did they become? They lose themselves, and they become like their parents and repeat the same cycle that their parents repeated. You don't think so?
No.
And what's different between you and your mother?
I'm very forgiving. My mom is not.
But prior to understanding how to forgive, were you forgiven?
Yes,
You
I
were?
was. Mm-hmm.
But do you still have anger?
No, I think, no, not really. I don't.
Do you have it or not?
No.
You have no anger.
Nope.
But prior to overcoming the anger, you had anger, right?
Yes, I did.
But if you had anger, then you were just like your mother. Because that's why I said some generation, it has to stop by repenting and overcoming. But if you had any iota of anger, you're just like your mother. And an angry person cannot forgive in that state of anger. Now, some people are more dramatic than others. You know, you might feel like you can argue about it and let it go, but as long as you had an anger, you're still not a forgiving person. What do you think about that?
I don't think I'm like my mom.
In what
or
way?
my dad.
In what way?
Because, I mean, like my mom, she complains a lot about silly things. She goes to a party, she'll complain about the food. She'll complain about the music, you know, and she'll wake up in the morning, when I used to live with her, she'll wake up in the morning complaining about just anything.
And were you a complainer at one time?
No.
You've never been a complainer?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good, but you still had that same spirit if you had an anger. Now, maybe if you've overcome that anger, then it's changed.
I mean, the only thing I pick up from my dad is drinking.
Drinking?
Yeah, and that started when I was 30, but other than before then, I never took a drink, but, you know.
Is it hard to stop drinking?
I go off and on, and
Yeah.
it is hard.
What do you drink?
Just beer and wine.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so you got that from your father. Why, if you have no anger, why can't you overcome that?
I overcome it. Like I'll get sober for 4 months, and then I'll go back and.
For
I don't
4
know.
months?
Yeah, 4 or 5 months, a year.
Yeah.
Then I'll just go back to it. Maybe I'll make an excuse like the holidays coming, so I need to have a drink.
Yeah, that's right. I know what you mean. Nah. Well, I'm going to show you how to really let that go completely.
Okay.
All right? Did I see your hand?
The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The Son shall not bear the iniquity of the Father, neither shall the Father bear the iniquity of the Son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him.
Okay. I didn't get that.
Well, it's saying to me that the soul that sinneth shall die. So if my father dies from his iniquity, doesn't mean that's passed on to me. I can overcome that through, seeking God. And so the iniquity.
Well, we can't overcome, that's for sure.
Yeah, we can overcome. So
Yeah.
the righteousness. So once I become righteous, then my righteousness is my righteousness. I can't really pass it on. Everybody has to come into their own.
But if you are of good, and then if you got married and had kids, you will pass that on to them.
Oh, I know.
But if you're of evil, you're going to pass that on to
Exactly.
them. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. I went through that cycle. I mean,
Yeah.
my kids all got that because as growing up, you say to yourself, "Oh, I would never do this to my kids." And guess what?
Yeah.
When you get kids, you do that to them,
And you can't help it
and
because,
you can't help it.
because
Yes,
that's what's in
like-
your nature.
Exactly.
Your father, Satan, is evil. And if you have anger, you're of your father, the devil. So how are you going to pass on love if you have no
Don't
love?
have it, right.
There is no love in anger.
Exactly.
Right, so you're going to, even though you say, I would never do to my kids, what, I know parents who have said that. I just
Yes,
thought of some
right.
parents right now. I'm dealing with some fathers right now who are raising their children like an angry woman.
Yeah.
They really are. They don't want to, but they're spoiling their kids. They're being nice to the kids like a mother would be nice. Their kids are not tough at all, just soft and worth nothing. And I can see these fathers wanting to do better,
Yeah.
but it's not in their nature.
Right.
It's not in their nature to be a father with their son.
Right. Because what
daughters.
happens is that
And they want to.
they remember what their parent did to them.
It's not even that they remember,
No,
it's
but
just
I mean,
in the nature.
It's in the nature. So
Right.
if it's in the nature, they could take. I know, for instance, they could take that out on the kid, but rather than do that, they just let the kid go. They
Yes.
just let the kid go, and that's
Yeah.
just as bad.
They reward their kids, and the kids haven't done anything to deserve a reward.
Yeah.
It's the darndest thing I ever seen.
So So I mean, I know that very,
I
very
remember
well from
growing up,
experience.
if I didn't work, if I didn't clean the house or do something to bring the wood in, and let's say I didn't do any work, but I wanted to go to a dance, or I wanted to go, there would be no way I would be able to go. They would be like, if you want to go, then do your work. And it would be hurting so bad that because now I can't do the work. The parties happened today, right? And so, but they made me suffer through it. They didn't reward me if I didn't earn it. The same way God doesn't reward us just to spoil us. And men used to know these things. They don't know how to be men. They absolutely just don't know. And that's why we're here to help.